So you created a layout at a crop, and now that you're home, it just doesn't look right. Well, you're not alone. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can tweak that layout to make sure you love the end results. Let's get started. Hi there, I'm Julie. Let's take a look at how this layout started. This layout started from this Onstage 2025 After Hour booklet. Now, the booklet is exclusive to attendees, but I can show you my artwork because it was definitely inspired by this booklet right here. You can find the inspirational layout on page 17 of that booklet. Let's take a look at how this layout started. I knew that I wanted to use this gorgeous paper here. It has this beautiful ombre effect. It's got shimmer and shine. So I brought this paper, I brought some coordinating cardstock, and I also brought this really pretty stamp set. This was one of the stamp set that we did receive at the Onstage event. So I was well on my way to creating a beautiful layout. Now, what went wrong? Well, it's not so much what went wrong. It's just that, sometimes you're at a crop, you're talking, you're not paying attention, and some of the details get missed. So let's take a look. I kind of tweaked it here before I started filming, and I want to show you just subtle differences will make a huge impact on your layout. So I wanted to share a few simple things I did to make this layout better. It wasn't really bad, but there was something about it that was just not sitting right for me. So the first thing I did, as I mentioned, I took the inspirational artwork on page 17, created the page, and pretty much placed everything the way it was done on the inspirational art. Then I extended the page. So that's really easy. Whatever you do on one page, you carry it through on the other side. That was simple. Now, when I got home, I was looking at it, and you see the difference on the foundation page. Let's talk about that for a moment. So my foundation page here, I felt that it was really dark. There's no border, there's nothing, and we're going to talk about the matting in 1 second. So the first thing I did, I cut down my foundation page, and I added, you see right here, I added a small white border on all 3 sides. So when we cut this one down, you'll see that it's going to create a really nice double page layout because the inside is going to join in. And I really didn't want to cut into this paper because it's just that pretty. So let's talk about the mats, because you know what? Sometimes just adjusting your mats, that is all you need. So here what I did, this is a 1/4 inch mat done in white, and then I extended another 1/4 inch mat here in the cloud cover color. Now, I didn't have cloud cover when I started working on this layout. I actually used mist from Close to My Heart, and it's pretty darn close. So I changed up my mats, and if you look here, it's a small detail. If you look here, my mat is a tiny little white mat, and then I have a 1/4 inch of the cloud cover. Here I have tiny little mats. I think they're like 1/16 of an inch. Why bother, right? Sometimes it's good, but in this case here, it's not. Now, I want to show you something really close. You're probably not going to see it. You'll see it definitely when we deconstruct this. I stamped in the back because I felt that this was too bright, and when I glued it down, it's upside down. The words are upside down. Now, of course, I know this because I made it. Most people probably wouldn't pick up on it, but that really, really bothered me. So the first thing I did, I looked at my foundation pages, I trimmed them down, and I'm going to remat these photos. The other thing that bothered me about this layout was the composition. I felt that everything was kind of floating in space, and by extending this page here, it kind of needed a grounding spot. And I probably considered doing it with this, but it was really, really bright. Now, if you remember at the beginning, I showed you this is what I had with me at the crop. So now I know that I want to change up the composition just a tiny little bit. I also want to make room for a title. Now, in the original layout, they had a tiny little title right here. I tend to have bigger titles, so this tiny little space here to add a title, I know it wasn't going to work. So I thought, okay, maybe I can lift some of these elements. Now I had to lift these because, as I mentioned to you, I did remat them and I really do like the difference. Let's lift this one and I'll bring them up close so you can see how that looks. Now I have to be really careful because I don't want to damage my base page because, let's see here, I'm going to wiggle that out. Hopefully it's going to come out. Cross your fingers for me. Nope. Okay. I think that'll be okay. I have my embellishment cluster. I'm going to separate my cluster from my photo. I'm pretty sure I can camouflage this little rip. We'll see. Let's take a look at the two formats. So here you have double mats, 1/4 inch. Here you have 1/8 of an inch in white and 1/4 inch. Now, does it really make a difference? Is it a personal preference? It certainly is, but because these photos are dark and I'm putting them on a dark background, I really did feel that simply changing to a 1/4 inch made a huge difference. So I'm going to change that out. And I did the same for this one. So let's take a look at my foundation page and what I have to hide if I want to keep this layout and not start over. Now I definitely don't want to start over here. Do you see that detail? Hopefully the camera is going to pick up on it. Do you see that? Isn't that gorgeous? I'm going to show you how that was done. That was done using the Impression of Bloom, and you know what? I've been using this quite a bit this past month. And it was a feature in the artwork that was provided for us. And it's using this die. So basically what I did, I cut a strip of cloud cover, aka mist. Now it does take some time. I cut up a whole bunch and then I just glued them directly on top. And it gives this really cool texture, but visually it's not super distracting. So that's what drew me to this layout in the first place, and I'm really glad I took the time to do that. So let's take a look at what we have to deal with here. I have a little bit of a glue mess here, a little bit of a glue mess here. Now I could try and remove some of this with my rub and remove, and it's probably going to take most of it off, but here if I start rubbing, they are glued down, but I might damage all the work that I've done. You can see here that if you're very gentle and patient, you can pretty much remove all of this. But I'm not going to worry about it because I want to bring in another element to my foundation page. When I'm looking at the composition of this page, and especially here, you can really see it now, it just feels like everything is floating on top of the foundation page. This was sitting on the back burner for a while. I had to finish my title, and I wasn't inspired to finish it because it just didn't look right to me. So in the meantime, I got some new product, and this is the Flower Garden foils, and they are really, really cool. I've used one of the sheets in one of my projects, and I thought, you know what? This is cloud cover, and look at the shimmer and shine. Maybe I could just add a small strip here at the bottom, swap out this upside down piece that I have here, and that would look really, really pretty. But there's two things here. First, the pattern and the scale is pretty similar to this one, and I really, really like this paper. And now that I'm introducing another specialty paper, this one's kind of stealing the show. I love the color combination, and in a small dose it might work, but I don't know if you can see here. Those two prints are the same scale. So that sparked, okay, maybe I can bring something else to really highlight these photos and complete my foundation page. I went hunting in my stash, and this is one of the brush aluminum silver paper. Again, another specialty paper. And this one here is a silver glitter paper. It's kind of like a matte finish. That was from my stash. I don't even know where I got this, but it's been around for a little bit. So if I bring this in now, let's bring some photos. And if I bring this at the bottom, I'm not going to do the entire bottom. I think I'm just going to run a strip. But do you see how pretty that is? It brings in that pizzazz that I was looking for. It's not fighting with this paper. It's in the same family tones. I really do like this one. When I bring in this brushed one, I find that it's a little bit bold because, again, I don't want to take away from what I've already done. Now, let's be fair here. The layout was good. I'm just tweaking it so that I can love it. So I've got these two pieces here, and I'm thinking, do I really want to bring in another specialty paper? What if I just bring another color that matches what I already have here? I thought I'd bring in this color here. This color here is Misty Moonlight, and if you look at the ombre that I have in this print, it is in this print, and it plays well with everything else on the page. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut a strip, and if I don't love it, I know that I have a backup plan where I can bring in this really shiny paper. I think the addition of this color on the foundation pages will add just the right balance and flow I feel this layout is missing. Now that I've picked a color and I have a runner-up if this doesn't work, I'm going to trim my foundation page. I'm going to remat my photos. I'm going to get rid of this pink at the back and the upside down stamping. I'll show you that when I pull them off. Let's take a look at the stamping job that I did back here, which was a little bit of a fail. First, it's upside down. And I probably stamped on this piece because for me, this was a little bit bright. I love that my flowers are nice and bright, but this here was a little bit bright. The reason why I picked it is because there was a lot of pink in that event, and the backdrops for where all of the photos were being taken was very, very pink. So I was probably trying to tone down the pink, but I don't think I succeeded. So let me go cut this down, fix my mats, and then we'll move on to the next phase. Okay, let's take a look at how this transformation is moving along. And you know what? I don't really like the blue, but I want to show you I do have some restrictions because there's some damage in back here. So my circle has to live up here, and I'm fine with that. So this has to live here. And then down here, I did create damage, and this is not removable. It's an actual rip in the paper. So my original layout, the way I had it based on the inspiration, was like so. So this would hide the rip, no problem. But remember I told you I like big, bold titles, and this is where I ran into issues. Here I'm going to put them at the same height. And the restriction I have here is, again, I have a little bit of damage on that side. So I can't go further in than this. So I might have to kind of tweak that a little bit. Do you see that I can't go further? I'd like to bring this one a little bit closer. If I could, I would have brought them much closer, but you know what? I'm okay with that. And then these ones here were double matted, and these are my really good friends, Erin and Jama, walking this stage for their accomplishments, and it was really, really nice to be able to celebrate that with them. So this is what is now not working. So is it worth changing? I think it is. Let's keep with the process. I think it is. This is not going to be straight. I guess I could push them down, and that would be okay, and I could push this out a little bit. So this is my issue now. Now that I have a double page layout, I have my visual cluster, but I find that there's a hard stop between the two pages because of this cluster. So what I want to do is I want to move this photo over so that it's more gradual. I have this to contend with, so I could scooch this down a little bit, but I can't bring this one down. And this is actual glue, liquid glue. What was I thinking? Okay, so this is as far down as I can take it to hide my little rip and to cover my glue and to not have a hard break on this side. Okay, so this is what we have now. I'm going to bring this lower. Actually, this works out better. I'm going to push that all the way. I'm going to try and remove some of that glue, but I don't think I'll be able to do it. Okay, let's bring back this cluster. Like, you know what? Maybe I just need to make that one into a smaller circle. I'm okay with it. If it wasn't that I'm trying to hide some imperfection, I would probably adjust this a little bit more. Let me bring in my big title. So this is the title that I want to add right here, and it says, Together on Stage. I really like how bold and big it is, and I really don't feel like cutting a new one. I do like it. I don't love this. I thought that this was going to answer all of my question by bringing in that third color, removing some of that hot pink. I really do like the way these stand out much better now, and my flowers are standing out. Let's swap this out. Let's swap this out for that soft silver glitter paper, and we're going to hope that that's going to be that trick. So I'm going to bring that in. I like that it's pulling the silver from that print. And I like how it's highlighting the photos here at the bottom. I think I prefer this. Let's swap it out on this side. You know what? I think that's really pretty. I can move some of my flowers off my cluster. I want my T to kind of rest right here. So I want my T to rest here, this to rest there, or a little bit higher. I'm hiding this. I like it. I think I really like it. So let me adhere everything down before I change my mind again. And we'll talk about these clusters because there's just a little bit of fine tuning that I want to do to them as well. All right, what do you think of the changes? I like them. I know you're probably thinking I'm crazy, but I never finished the layout because it just didn't feel right. Sometimes a layout composition is going to prevent you from sticking on your title. I can do my journaling up here. Now, I was very mindful this time to add my glue in the center of the photo mats, in the center of my circles. And that is a good tip for my future self. Always keep your adhesive in the center of what you're gluing down, so when you're pulling it off, if you want to make changes, you're going to give yourself a better fighting chance if you want. Now, the last thing I have to address is this cluster. These were all done pretty much the same. It's a 4-inch circle. And remember, I didn't want to put it here because I felt that it was a really hard stop in the middle of my page. I went ahead and I die cut the one size down, and I think that that's going to work better. I can sneak this underneath, and I'm going to have my little circle to add my flowers, and I'm just going to try and pull them up. So these flowers were done with all of the colors that you see on my page, and I did some ink splatters. I really love the way that these turned out. They weren't really popping on the page because I had this hot pink mess going on this side. And I really like the way that now you can actually see the photos. So sometimes using the same color to try and, if you want, drown out the color doesn't always work, and I don't think that it did here. So I'm trying to lift these, but you know what? I did use liquid glue to put them down. Ooh, so I have to be quite careful. I'm going to have to bring in my bling to add the final little touches, but I think I can manage to lift all of that. So now you get to see me reconstruct my cluster, and it probably is going to be a little bit different because the circle is smaller. So I did have a dimensional on this one. So I'm still working my way through my 3D foam dots from close to my heart. So this is the biggest flower, and I think that I'm going to put it right here. And it's on dimensionals. I'm quite confident now that I am not going to change my layout again. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to glue these little leaves down. So the next big flower is this one. And again, there's a dimensional. I'm just going to add a new one. There was a lot of ungluing. So we're going to add this one here, I think, just like that. This one can be done without a dimensional. I'm going to put that just a single little dot right in the center. I think I've learned my lesson to not try and overglue things down. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to reconstruct it exactly the same way because the circle is smaller. Let me see. I want to put some more green, so I do like this. And maybe this at the bottom. This one here got a little damage. Let me see if I can put this one here. I like that. And don't like that too much. I'm going to bring one last element to really finish my pages. And this is from a fellow creative. Her name is Becca Whittam. And she added these little sprigs. These are from a different die set than these ones here. And I think it's that perfect little accent that I need. And this is Misty Moonlight. Remember, I wanted to bring in Misty Moonlight on this side. So I think that that's going to work. I might have to trim them down, but you see how it's kind of hiding the little holes that I've created for myself. So let's see if I put one here. And on this side, I can add one here. And I could just trim down the legs, or the stems, I should say. I think I'll add one here. Let me just trim that down. So I thought about this when I was trying to figure out what can I do to this layout to make it look better. Is it the clusters? Is it the composition? Like, there's something about it that was just not sitting right with me. And I'm glad that I redid my layout. So do you see that little pop of Misty Moonlight really completes this layout? And I'm going to add my little dot right here. I have a few that I can salvage. Now it's just a case of, do I want to put my journaling up here or possibly here on strips? So what do you think? This is your permission slip. If you totally don't love your layout, I'm giving you the permission to tweak it. I know some people say, no, once your layout is done, it is done. But you know what? This is going to live in my scrapbook, and I want to absolutely love it. And I love all of the changes that I have done. So I hope you've enjoyed this makeover, if you want, and you've picked up a few helpful tips to help you when your layout just doesn't feel right. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing. I give real life tips like this all the time. And if you'd love to have access to creative resources like the After Hour booklet, let's chat about joining my team. There's so much more waiting for you beyond these pages. Until next time, keep crafting and keep telling your stories. Bye for now. If you've enjoyed this After Hour inspired artwork, I'm going to link a video right here for you to watch. I also created a beautiful page using the inspirational artwork on page 16. See you there.